This would be one of those I probably never upload. I put literally a couple, probably, I don't know, hundreds of videos up that YouTube lets you, need to warm that up a little bit. YouTube lets you put videos and release them in the future. I have several thousand years. It ain't gonna last that long, YouTube. It'll be broken up within 10 years, but anyway, antitrust, whatever. But this will be one of those that I put a bunch up that'll be released in the future anyway. I don't even know what I'm going to say. It's like 5 or 6 in the morning. Probably just for me, this one. I looked to see, there's not a command. A lot of these on the keypads, there's all kinds of weird stuff you can do to control everything about this entire machine, but I didn't find a command to shut the beep off. That's just so annoying. When I was just a kid once, a friend and I had done acid and went to bed in our separate houses, you know. And anyway, like a couple hours later, neither of us could sleep, and he came over to my house and I let him in, and we were in the kitchen making something in the microwave. We forgot it beeped like that, and we were going to go out and just have a hell of a time, you know. And it beeped like that, and my dad came roaring in, and as he always did, and we didn't get to go out because of that damn beep. Yeah, you know, geez, it's for me, it's like after all these years, you know, things became really clear. A few things happened. Things became really clear to me about how artistically and technically everything should be. It's just so obvious now, and it's so quick when I approach a song. I can see like 5-10 different ways to produce it, and I'm still doing cover songs. I'll switch over to originals pretty soon. It's just weird. I'll be 50 in a couple of months, and you know, there's that rooster. But I kind of, there's just so much there, but I sort of feel like all my life I kept thinking there was going to be time. The years, I've been sick for a long, long time, and that has not helped. It's crippled me, but, you know, the years that I spent producing other people and fucking camera, fucking tripod, and strung out, and this and that, you know. There's a great edit for you. I don't even know what to say there. It just, I always thought there was going to be time. I didn't know I was going to get old, you know. How stupid can you be? I just didn't know I was going to get old. The arrogance and ego of us all, you know. It's, I think we're designed that way. It's like to sort of just feel like we're invincible, and for the first 40 years of life or so, or, you know, I really didn't get old or feeling old until the last like 5 years. I'll be 50 at around 44 years of age was the first year I changed from young man to older man. But you know, Jesus, so it's just making no sense. I always thought there would be time, and now that I'm moving faster now, I have all kinds of health problems and stuff. I don't know how much longer I'll even live, frankly, and I've been going faster and faster because I don't know if it's that I don't think it's that I don't want to be forgotten, or I just want people to know, like, of the 24-hour-a-day sort of Herculean epic struggle and effort that I put in to learn all this stuff and to be able to do it all alone. And I would have been better off if I would have been able to ask for help. That's been my weakest thing my whole life, to know when to ask for help, and even when I know when, I won't. And people are all too quick to write you off, or to not help you, or to sabotage you. It's just the way the world operates, you know. On one of the music sites I used to, when I was at the end of sort of my A&R period, I'd been sick a long time, like in 2005, 4, 5, 6, or 7, around in there. I put some of my own videos on like a site called Music Nation. It was like a, you know, unsigned artist contest all the time. They finally went belly up. It was all bullshit. I knew it. It was to sell ads, you know, and anytime you offer a contest, or anybody can do anything in the music business and get famous, thousands show up. But I liked it, so I put some of my videos up there, and they were stronger than most everyone else's, but not anything to write home about. Maybe a couple only. But there was one guy who was like 50 some years old. Wasn't very good. I mean, you know, it was mediocre at best. And his mom was on the internet and had figured out a way to cheat the system. And in other words, vote for him 100,000 times a day, you know. So out of all of these indie artists, and he wasn't very attractive, and he wasn't very good, particularly good. It was very mediocre material. And she posted on there like, oh, his dreams have come true after all these years. I'm like, lady, it's a B-rate site with, you know, there's just so much behind that. But it's like a lousy site on the internet that isn't even famous, with only other musicians, and nobody is listening to or voting for this guy except you. You're just kidding yourself, you know. And then at the end of it, the people who ran the thing figured it out. They let them waste all their hundreds of hours cheating online for this guy. And then at the end, see, they knew all along, but it promoted advertising and promoted commerce, so they let it go on. And then at the end, they bumped him out of the contest, you know. And it deservedly. He just wasn't very good. But, you know, they're kidding yourself like that you can just cheat your way to the top. And there's a lot of bullshit in the industry, that's for sure. But, you know, I think the stuff has to be really strong first. Your material, audio and video, the mixes, the productions, the artistic approach. And then on YouTube, that doesn't matter. How great it is doesn't matter. I run into stuff all the time that is incredible. 2, 3 hits, been up 5 years, less than 100 hits, couple of thumbs down. You know, it's a lot of it's about marketing. It's all about marketing. We wouldn't have any of the great bands if they were not marketed at some point. And there's also this phenomenon that happens where even mediocre music, if you hear it every day, as a lot of us know that have listened to radio for our entire lives, if you hear something that's just mediocre but you hear it every day, you get used to it, and then you start thinking, oh, that's pretty good. You know, there's some artists I've mastered their record, and I'm the only person who ever heard it, you know. And I kept a copy for myself, digitized it, and to me, I've heard it, you know, the first time I heard it was a hit, but now definitely it's like a old favorite classic hit for me, and nobody else has ever heard some of this stuff, you know. You know, YouTube is all about, and I didn't want to, you know, I've been careful to be realistic and not kid myself, and to always be critical in a professional, appropriate way of my own work and everyone else's, and because there's nothing worse than somebody kidding themselves about, you know, and at a certain age. But there's new markets opened up for people like me. I've been moving faster and faster, you know, not in good health. I found a copy, or a cover I did, of Neil Young's, you know, I forget about them. I do them in usually 24 hours or less. Just power through it, get it done. I like to get something done. And, you know, usually 24, 48 hours. I haven't played the song for 30 years sometimes. Do it, make a best I can do, something I think is interesting and awesome, hopefully, and then forget about it. But I found a copy of, on my personal site, of Neil Young's After the Gold Rush. And I came across it somehow earlier, and thought it was great. I love the original song, of course, loved it, but I think mine is equally as interesting, you know, equally as good, a little better actually. My voice is thicker, easier to listen to. I found my first. I kept seeing every time I tag something, I come up with associated with Trent Reznor and Nine Inch Nails, and something, the music industry also, from a couple videos I made, I guess. And I found one of those YouTube, and it wasn't YouTube generated, as somebody at YouTube had put together a playlist by YouTube. It wasn't auto-generated because they're not, with a single artist you can do that, but this one had several of mine was first, my cover of which Something I Can Never Have, which I love, and I love the original, like mine better than the original. I don't like many of mine better than the original, but I found they had put first in that playlist, like it was kind of the strongest thing in there, my version of Something I Can Never Have. And you know, it was made by somebody at YouTube and posted as, you know, by YouTube, so that was really cool. And there was, second was Highway to Hell, you know, my version of it. People love these songs, you know, and it's almost cheating, because I've known them so long, that I know how the energy of the song flows, and as well as, or maybe better than, the people who wrote them, you know, because I've written a lot of songs and other people have covered them, and I'm like, I realize, that person understood. They're not as close to it in a way, so I realize, they understood that thing better than I did, you know, and I wrote it, but they understand that where to take it and the intention more than I did, you know, or the feeling is more intense. The main thing I've learned out of all of this, it's coming up on a year, and every day, all day, is that when you're around other people, you get a lot of input and feedback that's simply not valid, and you're going to have people that, how can I say that? I mean, I'll be back. I'm going to have to do some editing on this. I think my thought there is, God, I get so many spam messages from people who are terrible. And yet, and they're young and they're terrible and they haven't been doing it that long. They don't even know they're totally terrible like I was. But, how can I say that? The main thing I've learned is that you're going to have people who have and everybody is an important artist in a way, I guess, but you're going to have people when you are Ashburn. When you are really good, you're going to have people not like you right away. And when you're really good, and doesn't matter how humble you are, or how can I say all this? I mean, the blunt way to say it is just you're going to be surrounded by people who consider themselves artists and musicians, and on an even plane with you, that aren't even fit to shine your shoes or lap your feces off the ground, to be frank. They just consider, they're so arrogant and so delusional. They just consider themselves like, well, yeah, we're both guitar players and singers or artists or they just really kind of consider themselves like on an even par with you. That's the tough thing about all of this. And it sounds horrible and arrogant to say that, but I guess a lot of people will go, well, yeah, they'll say, I've heard Peter Gabriel, other people, a few people say like, well, yeah, I was a professional and I was surrounded by people who weren't, so I moved on. It's like, what they're really saying is a bunch of fucking arrogant assholes around them, had the chutzpah to consider themselves even with him, and, they're all just artists. And in a way that's true, but there's that fine point of how do you define who is truly great and who's just kind of some idiot strumming. But the main thing I've learned is I watched, I didn't watch, or did I? Well, on YouTube, I mean, I haven't checked, I've been so busy, people don't understand, this is like in my studio business, when you're trying to get anything done, to get 10 songs a year done on a professional level, say 20 songs a year, recorded, mixed, mastered, completely top level professional. That's incredible with a team of people. So you got to be up 24 hours a day almost and keep that gear moving. It's an epic amount of work. But I've been doing that for myself. I hadn't watched any media news or listened to news and I watched a podcast of two guys just talking about kind of that whole Terrence McKenna kind of South American thing and different stuff, and it just made me realize oh, what a waste of time. I went 10 minutes. I was like, first of all, it's funny how my perception had changed so much. I was like, okay, as being a critical producer of everything, and that's all for the past year, or 50 years, but I mean for definitely 24 hours a day for the past year. I could, one guy was they were Australian, one guy was very intelligent, the other guy was an idiot with a big mouth who just kept butting in every second when the smart guy tried to talk. And it was his show, the guy butting in, so it was anyway, after 10 minutes, I was they were talking about God and heaven and hell and how people interact and this, and I was like, this is all shit I've known my entire life, and you guys are just rehashing it, waste of time later, but because it was well produced, it seemed important, and their thoughts were valid for a few minutes, and then I went this is just a couple of guys sitting in their fucking living room with good mics, talking shit, like every acid conversation you've ever had. I don't fucking need this, you know? Or it's a waste of time. I've been there. You know, that's one thing I'm good at now. And the next thing I went into is picking through stuff that there's no need to rehash it. It's done before. You know, cover songs can be like that. If you don't do something stunning with them, then it's just like rehashing garbage. You know, just going over the same thing. But bringing something new and update and making something fantastic better, something that's already epic and making it more epic, that's a challenge, and that's why I do cover songs. I've been able to do that on quite a few of them, you know. I try not to let the videos get in the way. I started using really great animation in the videos, and I'm, you know, good at pairing up audio and video. You know, I wanted my camera down a little bit more to start with, and the fucking tripod just doesn't cut it. I should buy another one. But, I don't want the audio and the video to get confused. And when people put a video on YouTube, especially the great animators and anyone, it's just assumed people are going to swipe it and use it. I could give two shits. So, you know, but I need my mixes and my attempts, and not even attempts, you know, my versions of stuff sound big, and I needed images that sound every bit as big as the music, or it just looks stupid. And the thing, putting an icon up or some bullshit, that is just bullshit. It's amateurish garbage to just put an icon on a song and there it is. It's like, dude, the song's weak to start with. Now you put a video that even diminishes it more. You know, and it's unfortunately, it's all about video on there to go with the music. But I digress so often. Shit. You know, the thought, I guess, is it's hard not to appear totally arrogant, but when you're an artist and good at it, you're going to be surrounded with hundreds of other people your whole life who think they are, who suck, and they're going to not going to take you any more seriously than they take themselves, and that's kind of the way it has to be. But that's one of the things that makes it hard. I spent a year after they put me on morphine, and I was a couple years into it. I spent a year sitting on a milk crate in the back of an apartment, like in kind of a dilapidated, not a modern, not a terrible apartment, but with I married a Chinese girl, had a son with her. She finally took off and took him back to China. How could women do that to men? Take the kids like that, and just those fucking bitches, you know. Makes you feel like murder's justified sometimes. Some people. And I spent a year. I'd get up. I was really in a lot of pain, sick. They put me on morphine. I'd get up and take the morphine and like 10 other medications. You get a soda, pack of cigarettes, and sit out on the back porch of this like apartment that was built in the 40s, alone, listening to headphones with my eyes closed, nodding out, dreaming all day, and you know, just sitting. I was so unhappy with her. She was such a terrible person, and I was so not, and so I didn't know how to approach life sick, you know. And I don't know, was that a year or two? But I've wasted that much time in my life. I spent a couple years just sitting. I had a state-of-the-art studio right inside. Nice stuff too. I spent a couple years just sitting there, half asleep. When you're a narcotics addict, you know, heroin, morphine, doesn't matter. Opiate's opiate, whether it's synthetic or whether it comes from a poppy. It's whether it's a Tylenol 3 or heroin. It's just a matter of strength in between there. But I would sit there and just, when you're an opiate addict, you know, I'd call them Technicolor daydreams, you know. You just close your eyes and the most beautiful, and you feel warm and loved and wonderful, and it's beautiful, you know. It's euphoria, and it just lasts for hours, and you just, you know, it's called nodding, and I'd see the most brilliant movies in my head, you know. Still do sometimes. Always did, though. That drug just accentuated them, but I'd sit there from sun up until sundown because I wanted to avoid her so much, and she was so not into helping me in any way. The only song, and listen to music, you know, kind of come in and out of reality. I met one New York junkie in rehab, like a hardcore New Yorker. He was like 10 years older than me, coming up on 60, you know, and like probably 55, and I was, you know, this is a few years ago, I was probably 45. And we were talking about that, Tom and I were talking, Tom, and we were talking about that, and I said, yeah, man, I sat out there all day just with my eyes closed. It was beautiful, and I had doctors giving it to me, tons of it from multiple doctors, so I was just, my eyes were closed, and I was just like loving it. I go, yeah, man, I was just sitting out there rearranging the fabric of reality, you know. And he goes like, spoken like a true junkie. Spoken like a true junkie. I don't regret that. I love that experience, but what a waste of time. So much of stuff is a waste of time, and one of the things that I learned, I hadn't, like I said, listened to any, you know, news, or I've listened to a lot of music, but radio or television at all. Haven't watched television, haven't taken a phone call. Again, it's stuff like, what am I going to say to anybody? I know, I mean, what do you say? Yeah, thanks for not being behind me always, still not behind me, even in this thing I'm doing. And let's rehash that for an hour now. Yeah, no, I don't take phone calls anymore. I got nothing else to say. Check into my website or my vlog if you want to, you know what's up with me. Bother to fucking check in, you know. If you really give a shit, then just check in on me. You know, my sister was like, well, yeah. I was like, dude, I don't take phone calls anymore. I didn't tell her. It's like, what have I got to say to you? We live in different worlds. She's a neat woman, but it's like, bother to investigate just the littlest bit about me. Anyway, it became obvious that all media is about selling you stuff. That's what Google is all about, is selling you shit. They're slapping more and more ads on stuff and making it where you can't bypass the ad. It's all, but I was immediately able to go, you know what, this is a waste of fucking bullshit time. Even NPR, it's like you're just trying to sell me an opinion, an idea, or something. Yeah, I love my sister. She's the best of them, but it was, when I had cancer, and I can't say that I was scared, but I wanted to see somebody I had known, you know, that was familiar with me. And I was in Los Angeles. She was a few 3,000 miles away, and you know, I didn't know if I was going to make it, and I made that clear to her. You know, the doctors, man, this is cancer. It's cancer surgery. Nobody came to the hospital either, and to visit or support me. And you know, she's younger than me, only a couple years, but I got sick early in my life, so I know what it is. they will know, my brothers and sisters, everybody will know when you get older. It's an epic deal. It changes everything, your outlook. But I was sitting on a bench and living in the RV, had cancer, living in the RV, broke, nowhere, just this thing, alone. And I'm like, boy, it'd be great if you could come spend some time with me. Well, I've got work and this, and dude, she so didn't understand what was going on, A, and B, didn't give a shit enough about me. And that's okay. That's the way life works. Go towards people who do care about you and will support you. But she didn't even care enough about me, and I'm not bitching and complaining. It's just the way life works. But still, you need to go away from people like that and towards people who will support you. But she didn't realize this may be the last time I ever see or talk to my brother. And I can drop everything and go there and spend a week or two. Who cares? At what cost? Who cares the cost? This is my brother, and his entire life might be ending. No interest. I'm busy. She so didn't even know to honor my life in any way that's appropriate at that time. A, she didn't know that was right, and B, didn't care. We're all so, and that's kind of the way life works, we're all so self-obsessed. We have to be to survive, but it gets ugly. It gets ugly. She, yeah, I mean, it's just you. I've noticed that when I'm living in a fucking piece of shit, filthy RV, barely able to take care of myself. That's good enough for everybody else, as long as I'm out of the way. It's really that. As long as you're not in my way and asking, and I don't ever ask for anything, as long as you're not asking for anything, well, keep out of the way. Don't ask for anything. And that's good. That's good enough for you. Nobody's come charging in and said, oh my God, you're barely able to take care of yourself, living in an impossible situation, and let's get you a nice clean apartment or a house. Let's buy you a house. She thought about that, I guess, in years, and I told her no, I wouldn't take anybody's help if they offered anyway. It's just me. A lot of bullshit in this world. But YouTube has shown me, it's like the people that I took seriously in my life, as like, whether they're serious in any way, artists or seriously intelligent, seriously have something to say, it's deceptive, because most of the people around you, by far, it's like on YouTube, the vast majority, not very good. I don't have anything in common with, I'm not into what they're doing, but there are some where I totally resonate with them. But that's about 1 in 1,000, But in life, it's kind of, YouTube is a good analogy. You'll be surrounded by people who are really, a good analogy is kind of like the same people making horrible videos, much like this one on YouTube, that really just are amateurs with not anything to say, and there's nothing intelligent or special planned about it. And yet, because you don't have anything to compare it with, or anybody else in your life and in my life, I tended to take these morons seriously and actually give them a voice in my life. And it's like, I would have been so much better off just looking for people who were really brilliant with something to offer, somebody I could relate with, rather than just listening to morons who seemed like they were important at the time, or intelligent, and also, sort of put themselves on an even par with me in some way, when they just weren't. They weren't professionals at music or anything, so it was just like, but we so quickly take up man is a social animal, and we're lonely. We're driven to be social, so we'll take up with just people who can offer us nothing. We have nothing in common with, and we shouldn't even be, lower companions. We shouldn't even be associated with people like that. Poor Callie. I married a girl when I was a kid. She's been a drug addict and a ne'er-do-well her entire life. Was really, really pretty until she was about 30 and then porked out. And she's still arrogant, ego-tripping, twisted, messed up person, you know, and I'm so far, I hadn't even thought about her. I saw her on Facebook. She's one of those people who try, you know, like, not very attractive, pretty quick in life. Was fat and ugly by 30. In her, like, 21, she was a piece of work. Woo! But that left, but she traded on those looks. Screwed me over really good, too. But I so got over that so fast. I so don't care now. I just so over it. But she's one of those people that comes on Facebook occasionally and tries to make out like I'm still holding a candle or carrying a torch or a flame for a candle for her. I have so not even thought about her in like 30 years or I could give a shit less, but she always tries to make it like I'm pining away for her somewhere. Hadn't even thought about her. And she's so she's crazy. She's twisted. Yeah, she's really twisted. Twisted. Some people never get it. I feel bad for her, but I don't want to have any interaction. Like, I think she wants to call me or something. She's homeless again at like 55 years of age now. 53, something like that. Homeless. Been homeless her whole life. Thought she could fuck her way into success or into a place to stay, you know. Years ago, I was like, dude, you gotta do something with yourself, because you know, you can't just fuck your way into a cushy little thing anymore. You're not good looking. You know, I didn't say that. I was like, if I'm going to pay for something, I want it to be 18 and, you know, perfect. She really, when I was a kid, she was harsh, man. I loved her. And she brutally fucked me over. A couple of times, but I got over it quick. But now she got her payback. But she did that over and over to a lot of guys, and now she got her payback in life. I wish her the best, but I don't want anything to do with her, and I don't take phone calls, because she's just, some people are so twisted that if you start trying to untwist them and slowly untangle their bullshit one little thing at a time, it's like a spool of thread or something, you know. Then your stuff starts getting screwed up. You can't expend the energy to untwist everybody. Some people, that's like that fucking Connie Kim. So twisted, so full of lies and deception. A girl, Connie Kim, a girl I used to know, date. She had an album that was, I don't know if it sold anything or not, but it sold a few, and some talk about delusional. Some, to not understand, some magazine in Norway said, oh, one of the best albums of 2010 or 11, whatever it was. It's terrible. There's just nothing to it, you know. The lyrics suck, the music sucks. But it was promoted, and some people bought the bullshit. It's just not. It's empty. It's an empty thing, you know, an empty work, and but some magazine said, oh, Norwegian thread maker had said, oh, one of the best albums of 2010. She's like, oh, I'm so honored to receive this, and it's like, you know what, dude, wake up. It's like, you're not any good, and it's a bullshit, you know, compliment from people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about. You know, and that's one thing I'm real careful to do on YouTube, is to not really take any of the compliments too seriously, or the attacks. And there's rarely an attack anymore. I've been blown away. Like once every 2 weeks, I get it. Somebody trying to be a hater. I guess I realized, you know, it took me a long time to get here, but I realized I've gotten really, really good. Like one of the best there is anywhere at music production, art, from so much practice at it. It's too bad I waited too long. I won't live to enjoy it. I wasn't meant to be famous and stuff. That is what it is. It just is what it is. I was meant to lead a life of I just wasn't meant to be famous. And it's like amps. I used to use all tube amps, and right before they burn out and go up in a puff of smoke, they sound the most brilliant. You know, they do their best work in the last hours of their lifespan. You'd be on stage and just, I mean, nothing, every note sounded just heavenly, incredible. I'd always know, oh man, those 12 AX7s are about ready to burn out. Sometimes with puff of smoke. But I'm like one of those amps, you know. Right at the end of my life, I really shone bright. It's not even that I didn't want to be forgotten. It's not that I didn't want to be forgotten there. Double negative there. I am not sure if I did not want to be forgotten, but I am sure. It's not that I did not want to be forgotten. It's just that I'm trying to pass this legacy of music on to a new generation of people, because it's already being forgotten. The young girls who like mosh metal at the corner store, they're like Muslim girls. Their dad's a strict Muslim and they love mosh metal. It's crazy, but they don't even know who Led Zeppelin or Pink Floyd is, or the Who, any of the stuff that their music descended from. The style doesn't matter. I'm mainly a composer anyway. I wasted a lot of years trying to be the greatest guitar player, the greatest this, or the greatest that. You know, it's, if you look at the greatest artists, it's people who understand. Don't get obsessed with the drums or the bass or the guitar or the vocals, but make sure the overall thing works, and that's the key to music. The song is there to convey an idea. Play for the songs. Produce for the songs. Produce to convey the idea. Don't get obsessed with the little guitar sounds, and I've wasted so much time fucking with guitar, playing drums. Never gave two shits about bass, but it's probably the most important instrument in a mix, you know. It's a rhythm instrument. That's just life. I don't think I was meant to be successful or famous at music. I'm just like one of those amps, you know. I would have been a monster anyway. Until now, I didn't have any any ability to handle such a thing. I don't have any complaints about any of it. It's just, it is what it is.